Did you know that winching a badly bogged four-wheel drive can put so much load on your winch that it's the equivalent of trying to winch straight up a wall? You'd never put your four-wheel drive through this stress, so why would you do the same when you're bogged? In this episode, we're going to show you how you can make any recovery you do easier and safer on your four-wheel drive, and one trick that can reduce the load by over 50%. These tricks will not just keep you safe on the tracks, they'll make your winch and recovery gear last a heck of a lot longer too. Firstly, let's look at snatch recoveries and our tips to make them easier and safer. A snatch recovery uses what's called kinetic energy to free the stuck vehicle. The way it works is you have a long stretchy strap, a snatch strap, which is connected between the two vehicles, and as the recovering vehicle moves forward, this strap will stretch and then contract, and that transfer of energy will move to the stuck vehicle. Think of it like if you had a rubber band between two toy cars. If you hold one toy car still and move the other forward, the rubber band will stretch. Then, if you release the first car, all the stored up energy in the band will propel the vehicle forward. A snatch recovery essentially works the same way. A kinetic rope like this one follows the same principle, but because of the fact it's a rope, not a strap, you get a much greater transfer of energy as the rope can stretch more. Each one of these definitely has their place, but for me personally, if I need to perform a snatch recovery, I'll almost always go for the snatch strap. I just find them easier to store in the vehicle, and easier to set up and things like that. That said though, this is a kinetic recovery rope from DriveTech, and it's an 8-ton one, and as you can see, it's still nice and compact, and these work really well in snatch recoveries as well. So if you're going to be performing a snatch recovery, here are a few tips to help you recover safely. 1. Start gently, then apply a bit more power each time. You don't need to give it everything you've got straight away. By starting with a little bit of momentum and working up until the vehicle is free, it puts a lot less stress on your vehicle's components and driveline, and it helps to keep the recovery more controlled. Plus, it'll also help you to evaluate the situation, because if you progressively step up the intensity and it still doesn't free the stuck vehicle, you can reassess and try a different tactic. 2. Use rated recovery points. If you don't have these on the front and rear of your vehicle, fit some. You can get them for heaps of different makes and models of four-wheel drive. They're inexpensive and they're absolutely essential. Another thing you can do if you're in a bit of a pinch is join two straps together. Now obviously one of these is a rope and one's a strap, but they're both going to do the same thing, stretch and transfer that energy to the stuck vehicle. The reason you'd want to do this is if the recovering vehicle is still on quite soft ground at the length of one snatch strap close to the stuck vehicle. So by doing this, you get extra length and you can go further away onto harder ground, and it gives you a lot more freedom to move around a bit. It's important to note though, if you are going to join straps together, you need to put something in here, not my arm obviously, I'll show you that in a sec, but the reason for that is, once these get tight, they're essentially going to fuse together and you almost never get that undone again. So just by doing that, it'll still allow you to use the strap properly, but it just means that you'll be able to get everything undone again once you're done, particularly if the vehicle is really stuck. There's going to be a lot of force on this. The next one is, before you begin the recovery, ask yourself, is a snatch recovery the best option? You're involving another vehicle. There's a lot of force on both vehicles and on the recovery gear as well, and sometimes it might not be the best option, where a quick winch will be a lot better because it's safer and slower and controlled. But if the vehicle is really stuck, 9 times out of 10, you're almost always better off going with a winch recovery instead of a snatch recovery. That said, as long as you do them safe, they can still be effective when you're in open areas like this beautiful beach. You may hear this a lot, but never ever use a tow ball. Tow balls are designed for constant load, not large amounts of force all of a sudden. Because of that, if you perform a snatch recovery using one, you can risk shearing the tow ball off, which can become a projectile. As an alternative, you can still use your tow bar hitch. Just replace the tow ball with one of these hitch receivers that uses a shackle. Knowing when to snatch and when to winch is particularly important because not every recovery situation is the same. As I mentioned earlier though, for the most part, we almost always prefer to opt for the winch because it's much more controlled and you can slow everything down nicely to suit the situation. As a general rule, if you have the space to perform a snatch and limited options to winch off, like on a beach, sometimes it might be the go. But if you prefer to slow the recovery down, we almost always go with the winch.
Speaking of which, let's head into the bush because I want to show you a couple of winch recovery techniques you can use to get your vehicle unstuck.
Did you know that choosing the right style of winch recovery can reduce the load on your four-wheel drive and winch by over 50%? Before we get into different tips that'll make winch recovery safer and easier, the first step is to choose a winch that's rated to your four-wheel drive. When you buy a winch, it'll come with a load rating. Most winches for four-wheel drives are from about 9,000 pounds or 4,082 kilos up to 12,000 pounds, 5,443 kilos. And you can get much bigger ones for your Unimogs and four-wheel drive trucks as well.
So, what size winch should you fit to your vehicle?
Okay, first things first. What does the rating of a winch actually mean and how is it calculated? A winch can haul the most load when the rope is closest to the drum on a flat surface because that's where the most amount of torque can be applied to the winch line. For every extra wrap of rope on the drum, the amount that winch can pull is reduced. Also, it's worth remembering that the winch rating we mentioned earlier is based off that first wrap of line of the drum on a flat surface. Which means, when you buy a winch that's rated at 9,000 pounds, it means that safe working load is based on the winch pulling that 9,000 pounds on a flat surface on the first wrap of the drum. But why does that matter? To show you an example, let's say the pony weighs 2.1 tonnes. On a flat road with nothing in the way, if you were to pull the vehicle along, it would be relatively easy as there isn't much trying to stop you. You don't need to apply 2.1 tonnes of force to move the object, because it's on wheels and it'll move with less effort. But on the same flat road, if you aired the tyres down, it would be more difficult to pull the vehicle on because of something called rolling resistance. If you then tried to pull the vehicle up a hill, it would be much harder as now you're dealing with even more resistance from things like gravity. Now, let's say you then added some rock steps while still trying to pull it up that hill. The amount of effort required to still pull that vehicle up the hill would be even greater still. The more you increase the angle you're trying to haul the vehicle up, and the more resistance you apply to the vehicle in the form of tyre pressures, obstacles in the way, or gravity, the more force is required to haul the vehicle up safely. Right up until pulling a vehicle up vertically, where you're literally trying to lift up that entire 2.1 tonnes as a dead weight. Now, you'd never lift a vehicle up like this in the air, but now we've shown you this example, let me show you how much force is applied to your winch when you're stuck in a bog hole. Remember, the pony weighs 2.1 tonnes. Check out the load on the winch during this recovery. The winch is pulling the entire weight of the pony and we're not lifting it up in the air. The more force you're having to use to get a four-wheel drive unbogged, the more unsafe the recovery and the harder you're asking all your recovery gear to work. So, as a general guide to fitting the right size winch for your vehicle, a winch should be rated to handle roughly twice the weight of your four-wheel drive. So a 10 to 12,000 pound winch would be good for most four-wheel drives here in Australia. So that means we need a winch that's capable of 5 tonnes of load or 11,000 pounds. The DriveTech winch in the pony is a 12,000 pound unit, so it should never have any problems with the weight. So now we've shown you how much force you can apply to the vehicle even on a flat surface in a bog hole, let me show you some easy and safe ways you can decrease the load on your recovery system. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. It's giveaway time and we've got an awesome prize pack to give away for 3 lucky four-wheel drivers. It'll include the DriveTech 12,000 pound winch, the exact same one I got in the front of the pony, plus a complete DriveTech recovery kit as well. It's an awesome setup that you need for your four-wheel drive, so to enter, all you got to do is jump in the comments below and tell us about a time where a winch would have come in handy on the front of your four-wheel drive. We're going to go through the comments and pick the 3 best answers, send them out a brand new DriveTech 12,000 pound winch, plus a recovery kit to go with it. How good is that? Jump on it and good luck. Look at the difference in load on your winch on the same hill with a single line, double line and triple line winch recovery. This is the #1 way to make winching easier and safer with your four-wheel drive.
First up is a single line pull. This is probably what you're going to use around about 80% of the time when you're in the bush. It's when the anchor point is as close to the front of the vehicle as possible and you're winching in a straight line. This setup, while effective, is going to be putting a lot of load on your winch. So with that in mind, try and be conscious about where your anchor point is and the angle of the winch pull too. A single line pull is always going to put a fair bit of load on your recovery system. To help reduce the load, we can introduce mechanical advantage with the use of a pulley. Now there are a couple of different types. There's one like this, or you can also get winch rings as well, which follow the same principle, they just use friction. But these are awesome for reducing the load on your recovery system. Let me show you how they work.
This mechanical advantage will allow you to use what's called a double and triple line pull. These are ideal if your vehicle is very stuck or if you're towing, because it will reduce the load on your winch, but the mechanical advantage we introduce into the system will allow for extra pulling power.
The trade-off is when setting up a system like this, you're going to slow down your winch's speed. A double line pull will slow down your winch's speed by about half, and a triple line pull even more. The other thing to consider is you might notice that I've changed anchor points, and the reason for that is obviously you're going to need a lot more rope in your system when you're setting it up. So you need to be mindful of how far away your anchor point is from the vehicle so you have enough rope. Also, another thing that's very important to consider when you're setting up a system like this is something called critical angle. And with double and triple line pulls, it essentially refers to the angle inside here affecting the load applied on your anchor point. For example, if you have a setup like this where you have your winch rope coming straight out of the vehicle to your anchor point through a pulley and then straight back to your vehicle with an angle in here of 0, it essentially means that the load is evenly applied across the winch rope. What I mean by that is, if that vehicle weighed 100 kilos, you'd have 50 kilos of load on this rope and 50 kilos of load on this rope. But it's important to know that if you increase the angle in here by too much, the load on your system will increase as well.
Triple line pulls are rarely ever used, but if you do, there are a few things to keep in mind with setting them up right.
So with a triple line pull like this, you're essentially using what's called a 3-to-1 hauling system. And what that means is for every 3 meters of rope that's going to move through this system, the vehicle will move forward 1 meter. So it's very important to keep in mind how much winch rope you have available to you, and also where the location of the anchor point is, because you'll need to have it quite close if you want to use as much winch rope as you can to allow the system to work.
With a triple line pull, you need the first anchor point to be as directly in front of the vehicle as possible, then ideally back to the vehicle with another pulley, as that will help to reduce that critical angle we mentioned before. The more direct and lower the angle you're winching, the more you can help to reduce the load on your winch. Let me explain.
You can actually raise your anchor point up higher on the tree like this, and what that does is help to lift the nose of your vehicle up and in as you're winching forward. Just be careful though if you are going to do this, because when you increase this angle, you're adding more load onto the anchor point, your winch rope and your winch. One thing we've learned after years of filming out in the bush, and I'd say hundreds of recoveries, is there are a few things you can do before you even start the drive to make the recovery a whole lot safer, smoother and faster. For example, if you come to a section of track like this that looks a bit wild, go for a walk and have a look at some potential spots where you might get stuck and set your recovery gear up on a suitable anchor point nearby. Experience will tell you the best spots to put your recovery gear, but at least you'll get a rough idea, and it means that if you do end up using it, it's much quicker to set everything up. Just bear in mind though, if you don't actually end up using the gear, don't forget it, make sure you go get it afterwards. You'll also notice on a lot of the trips we do, you'll always see us putting the winch damper over the hook. Now the reason for that is back in the day when winches had cable on them, you'd generally chuck the damper on the cable, because if it failed, that's got a fair bit of weight through it, it'll probably go flinging through the air. But with synthetic rope on winches, we've seen a fair few of them break over the years, and a lot of the time when they do break, the rope will just drop because it doesn't have a lot of weight behind it, but this part of your system does. So by putting the winch damper on the heaviest part of your recovery system, it just helps to mitigate this flying through the air if you do have a failure.
This one's more of a personal one, but it's slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And what I mean by that is one of the worst things you can do in a recovery is rush. Even if the vehicle is in a precarious situation, there's no point grabbing the recovery gear, sprinting in and going like a bull at a gate to do the recovery, because that's where mistakes and some injuries can happen as well. Assess the situation so you can perform the best and safest recovery possible. Breathe and slow down. Even if the vehicle is in a precarious situation, that's where, again, having some recovery gear set up before you start the drive can really come into its own so you can be efficient and perform a nice, controlled, safe recovery and get everyone home.
Most winches these days are coming out with synthetic rope instead of cable, and for good reason. Whilst cable has its place, to be honest, it's a little bit outdated. It can cut your hands, it's harder to spool in, it's heavier, and it can also rust over time as well. We reckon synthetic rope is the go on pretty much every single winch. In fact, I go as far as to say, don't even bother looking at a winch with cable on it. If the winch manufacturer you're looking at really is at the forefront of winch technology, they'll be using synthetic rope or SK75 Dyneema or a high strength equivalent instead of cable. Yes, synthetic rope isn't cheap to put on your winch, but the way I look at it is this. You'll be in a situation where your recovery gear cannot let you down. Your vehicle, and maybe even your life in some cases, will depend on it. So don't skimp out on quality recovery gear and make sure you get high strength rope for your winch, and you'll be laughing.
Another consideration when tackling bog holes is instead of hitting them harder is in fact to ease in and then power out. This does two things. Firstly, it'll limit the risk of accidentally putting your fan through your radiator from all the water in the bog hole going up and causing the fan to flex. And the other thing is it'll stop the four-wheel drive digging deeper into the mud and creating more suction to the bottom of your vehicle. If you get stuck in a bog hole, don't just sit there spinning your tyres, just stop. It's also worth considering using a set of treads to help take the load off the winch. There are a couple of schools of thought on caring for your recovery gear. Most people recommend not using any detergents as that can affect the integrity of the strap. But you can get safe, environmentally friendly washes for your recovery gear that will not harm the strap. I actually use this stuff called rope and harness wash. You can get it at any rigging store. It's safe for abseiling rope and harnesses, so I also use it for winch rope. But I just add a little bit to a bucket and dunk the winch or snatch strap you're cleaning in there. Leave it to soak for a while and give it a good slosh around, but don't rub hard on the strap to remove dirt, because a lot of the time that can push dirt and sand further into the strap. You can do this with a couple of different buckets as well, but the principle applies for all your different straps. Same thing with winch rope as well. I'll spool it out and set it in a drum, let it soak, sometimes overnight so the dirt can break away, and then I'll rinse it in another bucket and then let it dry. So you can spool the winch rope in and out, which is real handy for doing that as well. Then transfer it to another bucket with just water, and when it's clean, hang it up out of the sun to dry. Then when it comes to inspecting the gear, you really want to just look for any tears and cuts inside the fabric, and if you do find any, it's best to replace the strap. Sometimes it's a bit of a hard pill to swallow if you find just a small tear and have to replace the strap, but it's better than having it fail on you. I generally do this every 6 months, but also before a trip where I know it's going to be getting a workout. Hopefully, this video has given you a few tips and tricks that you can use to perform recoveries safer and more efficiently out in the bush. Just remember that the more you perform recoveries properly, the more confident you'll become, and then each time you'll get better and better as you go. Just remember to be safe above everything else, use proper rated recovery gear, and also remember, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Other than that, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.